I know. The holidays are here and the new year is coming up. But during this time, you'll probably hear this phrase or a similar version of it start to appear. When the new year starts, I'm going to start to focus on my health and the gym. And it's everyone's first thought of making like a New Year's resolution. It's everyone's first thought. And some people that do say it, they might mean it, but most people only stay locked in for like about 2 weeks, and then they just go back into their old schedule with their bad habits. I don't want you being like that. I don't. For you to actually want to improve on your health or on anything really they need to do, it must come from the heart. It must be like a fire inside you that won't go away. That is the proper way on how to start. Even if you change 2 days before New Year's, that is showing that you're not waiting for a because a New Year's not going to solve all your problems. It's based on how bad you want to change them. And to have that, you need to have discipline to start. You need to start building discipline. Discipline, discipline, discipline. Let me explain why. This leads me to the first section of the video, which is why discipline is needed to improve. Now, the first reason why it's needed is because it keeps you consistent. With discipline, you are training your mind to become used to certain habits that will over time grow more and more later on. That is where you will build up consistency. A habit that makes other good habits last. It makes it so you do the same tasks while putting the same effort in every single day. Building the habit of staying focused and staying on top of priorities that may seem challenging at first. Now, while building up consistency, you're also building mindfulness for what you can do and self-control, which will help in making sure that you are disciplined with yourself and keeping you in the zone, which will help in making sure that you are disciplined with yourself and keeping you in the zone, keeping you focused. The reason on why discipline is needed is because it keeps you in the flow state. It keeps you in a flow state. Discipline doesn't just keep you consistent. It keeps you focused with it. Whenever you do any sort of task, when you're in the flow state, you won't just put in the same dull effort every single day. Once you're in the flow state, you'll start putting in more energy and effort into what's needed to be done, into what's needed to be completed for the day, which helps you build up your why, which helps you making you build up less stress, put more thought into what you need to do, and lose any drive to give up. This will make your energy refocus into what needs to be done and will build up better habits of being focused, which will all contribute to building your mindset. Everything that I've said now is very important to know when understanding discipline as a whole. The focus you build, the energy that you use, and the mindset are all factors that contribute to discipline. It can change your life for the better, as it has done for me. Because for when I was overweight, I had a lot of bad habits, and all those bad habits just kept leading me into building more and more and more bad habits over time. And it led me into a downward spiral of just me just living for pleasure, of me living for pure dopamine. And during this time, I had no discipline whatsoever. No discipline. I had nothing. Ever since I started to build discipline over that course of time, I lost over 30 pounds. Yes, I did. I lost over 30 pounds. And my mindset has truly changed from back then. Changed. When I say it has changed, it has changed. It has. And with that, it made me focus on what I needed to do and what I needed to focus on. So, all in all, discipline truly changes you, and it can make your life better without waiting for a new year or for a new month to start. You may be wondering to yourself, well, how do I start building up discipline? Let me explain now, which leads me into the second section of the video, which is how to build up proper discipline. Now, to start, before you do anything, you first need to understand yourself. This is what I did. I first had to understand what I was truly doing with myself. For this step, you need to understand what goal you're chasing, your main priority in life, and the steps that you'll take to reach that goal. It doesn't have to be a full planned out step-by-step guide. It just has to have a starting ground. You have to have a starting ground when trying to build up discipline. Once you understand the main concept of what you need to do, take action. It doesn't matter if it's like late at night or early in the morning. Take action. Don't wait for a perfect time. Just start. Because now you have a platform set up for yourself when you answered all those questions. When you thought about those questions that I just said and you answered them truthfully, that is your main platform to start building up discipline. Because that'll be your why. That will be your motive to into why you're doing what you're doing now. And to be fair, most people don't really consider this when trying to build discipline. They start with no platform. They don't have to anything. They don't even ask themselves what they're trying to do. They just they just try to be focused, try to be disciplined, and then they wonder why they fail. They wonder why. With discipline, you have to have a starting ground. You have to, and that starting ground is by asking yourself what you really need to do in your life. What you really need to do. That is where discipline starts to grow because you have to have a foundation where you know what you're building towards so you won't be lost later on. Because if you don't have a platform, you're just gonna grow into nowhere. I'm just being honest. You're just gonna grow into nowhere. And then once you have a platform and you start building and you start building up over time slowly and slowly, that's when things will start to click. That's when you understand how to slowly make progress. That is one. Because it's all about having a platform to start. Not about starting blindly. It's by having a motive. You have to have a setup first. It doesn't but it's a setup where you can start growing over time. And this will build habits such as consistency, delayed gratification, and staying locked in. Which are good habits which are good habits to have if you want to make progress. They are. Especially locking in. That's a really good habit to have. Now for the second step, that's by building a routine. I know I mentioned this in my last video, but it kind of goes hand in hand to building discipline. Once you have taken action on what needs to be done, start to slowly get into a routine that you know you can do so you won't lose progress and you can stay focused on them. Building a routine is what will keep you consistent and will make sure you are not being distracted by anything or by temptations. This to make sure that you don't lose any focus that you are present doing, and so that you won't waste any time doing things that are not helping you with your goal. To build a routine, list everything that you usually have to do. Then, with those tasks, for each task, organize it into one of two sections. One section is where it's non-negotiable, where you must do it for the day, and the other section is where the tasks are optional to do when you have more time, to do them. When deciding on which task could be which, think about if the task will help you move forward along your goal, the task could push you slightly, or if the task is not related to the goal, but still. This would be a good way for you to decide if the tasks you have are making you more focused, pushing you towards your goal, or more for you to stay disciplined so you won't waste time. Because with the non-negotiables, that's for the tasks that are very crucial and important to what you want to do. And for the optional tasks, there are tasks where they're important, but they're not really as important as the non-negotiables are. And it's just there for you to remind you they need to do it, and so that when you have extra time, then you can do that task. Now, you make sure that you don't forget them is to understand what's needed to be done, to put more focus onto the task, and to use energy more wisely into what you do, which will build habits such as focus, drive, and just putting in more effort. That's all. For the last part that you need, which is crucial, you need to have self-control. Yeah, you need to have self-control. Because once once you understand what you need to do and you have a set routine, you're in a good position, but you're still vulnerable to being distracted. You still are. You'll be exposed to many distractions trying to take your energy and distract you, but that's where self-control comes into play. Because with self-control, it helps you by deciding to put the work in and focusing now instead of giving yourself pleasure now. You are basically deciding to either put the work in now and rest later, or rest now or put in the work later. You can't have both. When you have self-control, it shows how you could have been on a road full of distractions that could have killed your goals and ruined your life as a whole. But it helps you steer away from being comfortable and to grow. And it steers you onto a path of discipline, a little discomfort, so that you can grow and be great. Because if you don't grow in discomfort, you're not learning anything. And I'm being honest, you're not learning anything. So every time you feel like doing something else other than what you need to do, ask yourself this. When I do this task, am I doing this for pleasure or for my goals? That question alone will help you decide what's pushing you forward and what's delaying you. With everything that I just said, this leads me into the final words of the video. In summary, this is what discipline can do for you, not a New Year's resolution. A New Year's resolution only gets you to start, but never gets you to be consistent. Never. But discipline does. And you know this. You know this. So don't waste another year planning a New Year's resolution just for you to stay consistent for 2 weeks and then fall off. Instead, understand yourself, build a routine, and practice choosing pain over pleasure. Because 9 times out of 10, that instant gratification will only hold you back, while discipline will keep growing and until you are great with what you do. So take action, apply everything that I said in this video. Make sure to stay consistent with yourself. Because I can guarantee you this, that once you apply all of these steps, building a routine, understanding yourself, and self-control, you will feel proud. And I can guarantee you that your mindset will change. Even by a little bit. Even by a little bit, it will change. Even by a little bit. So that is all I had to say for today. So make sure to work out when needed to. Stay consistent with yourself and build yourself day after day. You don't need a new year. You just need to stay focused and disciplined with yourself, my friend. Enjoy yourself this holiday, but don't lose yourself over it. Just keep staying focused, keep staying disciplined. And thanks for watching. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you, my friend, in the next year. Peace.